Hello everybody. Welcome back to the channel where we talk about stuff. Don't forget to follow me on Twitter. There's a link in the description below. A lot of people, I hope that you all understand what I mean when I'm constantly talking about the consolidation of wealth. Things are only going to get crazier from here on out. And I think it's a conversation that more people actually need to have. And it's a conversation from multiple different directions. We've been talking about this kind of a lot this year because I think that we're beginning to actually witness the beginning of the end. It's not meant to be like a scary sentence, but it's more of a, this is what's currently taking place. By the year 2050, it's estimated that basically all available homes within the United States will be owned by companies. That's not a joke. This is also happening in multiple other places. A lot of people, when you hear that, it's also like lightly abstract for the mind as well. You kind of assume it's like one company who's like, yeah, give me apartments, like that kind of thing. But it's actually like a huge amount of companies who are like buying up hundreds and thousands of apartments every single month. And cumulatively, they're making sure that they buy these things and never, ever relinquish them all over it again. There's a situation where, which also the average person doesn't know this, a lot of governments are also buying up a lot of homes as well, like other governments for other countries. So I won't tell you any names, but if you look into it, there are a lot of like for instance, look into who owns like 15% of London. Look into who is buying up a lot of real estate in DC and in Florida and in New York and also in Paris. So people think that it's just companies. No, it's also like rich families and governments from other places who are buying up real estate in other countries and never ever plan on actually like giving these places up ever. If you own them, they're yours forever. That's the generalized idea. This is also happening quite quickly, quicker than I was expected within the cryptocurrency market. In that, we were talking earlier this year about the accumulation levels of the Bitcoin ETFs. And I know it like tickled the fancy of some people, or like it piqued their interest and they were like, oh, wow, that's actually kind of crazy. But people aren't understanding what the word's not even ramifications. It's something more than that. Like what this is actually going to happen to the cryptocurrency market and exactly how quickly wealth is going to actually be consolidated. The Bitcoin ETFs have been doing extremely well, especially over the last couple of weeks. And to be completely clear, they've always been doing well. There hasn't really been a period where they were like doing bad. We went over that before already. A lot of the times over the course of the summer when like there were bad days, a lot of the outflows were like $14 million. And that same exact day, they still had inflows of $38 million. So there was still like a net positive, but people were only focusing on the fact that there was like a high number of outflows for the actual funds. These funds have now officially accumulated over 1.1 million Bitcoin. That is 1.1 million Bitcoin over the course of a very short period of time. And that number is only going to continue to increase and is going to rapidly change the way that the cryptocurrency market actually looks and the way that it works, especially with all the rumors that we've been getting that apparently there are even more, because there already are, that there are going to be more countries in the next couple of months who are going to be announcing that they've actually been trying to front run the United States in buying Bitcoin as well, and that they've already accumulated huge amounts of Bitcoin in the background. The amount of Bitcoin that there actually isn't there. This is actually like a thing that people really need to get into their heads to really come to the conclusion that what they think is actually available for them and billions of other people actually isn't available at all. We've had a couple of situations where there have been companies who have been releasing numbers as to how much Bitcoin that they think is actually like available that's left. And one of the numbers that sticks out is that of the cryptocurrency that's actually on cryptocurrency exchanges, they think that only a couple 100,000 Bitcoin is actually available. That's like left and that's up for grabs. Just a couple 100,000, like we're talking about like 700, 800,000. As far as like the actual 21 million number that's there and the 4 to 6 million Bitcoin that are actually lost and gone forever. These ETFs in a very short period of time are going to get to 1.5 million Bitcoin, which would then sweep into 2 million Bitcoin that they're simply like holding on to, that they're buying on behalf of their people. If you were watching the other couple of videos as well, when I was talking about Bitcoin staking, that's also going to be a dramatically huge thing sometime in the future when people have figured out a way, which we also have right now, which is also being built up, a way to make passive income from their actual Bitcoin. That's also going to cause a huge surge and inflow into the ETFs as well. The ETFs have so much Bitcoin right now that they've basically eclipsed nearly every other asset class. We had that news earlier this year as well, for those of you who missed it. Of the 10,000 ETFs that launched this year, the Bitcoin ETFs were creme de la creme. They were at the very top. And it was also BlackRock's Bitcoin ETF that completely shattered every other record for every other ETF that has ever existed on this planet ever. That's not a joke. That's not like Bitcoin. No, like think of it. Every other ETF that has ever existed, they broke the record in like a 5 to 6 month period. There's also the numbers over here as well. It says on average, they've been accumulating over 1,100 Bitcoin per day from the market, essentially taking away 1,100 Bitcoin from tens of thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of people who could have had fragments of Bitcoin for themselves. But a lot of people continue to not pay attention to the market for whatever the actual reason might be. We also had that information telling you before. I know a lot of people who have no interest in investing. People have no interest in their future. People have no interest in trying to make money. So it makes a lot of sense. It makes a perfect amount of sense as to why there are billions of people on the planet who just don't care about investing, don't care about putting money away, and care nothing about what their actual financial future is going to be, which I find completely special. It says over the past 10 months, Bitcoin ETFs have received an accumulative inflow exceeding $21 billion. For reference, the gold ETFs that got started, I think there we go. The gold ETFs were started in 2005. They were considered a gigantic success. In 2005, they were considered one of the best ETFs to have ever launched ever. Over the course of a year, their inflows was $1.5 billion. In less than a year, the Bitcoin ETFs have over $21 billion. They're expected to eclipse, completely run over gold ETFs in general over the course of a 3 to 4 year period. Do you remember why? Even a shorter time than that? The idea is that once Bitcoin hits $300,000 to $400,000, a number of investors around the world, we've already seen it. We've already seen hedge funds selling off their gold and like their stake in gold and their paper gold and their gold certificates and yada, yada, yada to invest that money into Bitcoin. The idea is that once we're more than halfway to the full market cap of all the gold that there is on this planet, these people will begin to get scared and realize that they basically should have been investing in Bitcoin far before. They'll begin to sell off portions of their portfolio and push that money into Bitcoin. By the time Bitcoin is $150,000, $200,000, it doesn't take a lot of money to actually push it a lot higher. At $200,000, $300,000, the supply of Bitcoin on crypto exchanges is already extremely thin. That's why you see all these predictions and people talking about that it won't take a lot for Bitcoin to actually get to $500,000 to $1 million. The problem is it'll be more difficult for the average person to accumulate any Bitcoin, but the people who already have and have been accumulating, they're setting themselves up in the best human possible way. We are witnessing the change of the guard. We are witnessing the change of finance as we actually know it. This thing that we've known for thousands of years as a form of currency is being usurped. It's being pushed to the side quickly, rapidly by a number of banks, by a number of ETF holders and issuers who are in hedge funds who are relinquishing their money and pushing it into Bitcoin because they don't want to miss what's happening right now. It's not what's going to happen, which is also something else in the future, but it's what's currently happening right now. In 10 months, they did a 17x what the original gold ETFs did. Imagine the next 10 months. That's what I was trying to say before. What I was trying to, I think, and I keep using the word abstract, but I think a lot of these things when I tell them to people seem abstract. If I tell you that they have over 1.1 million Bitcoin, it doesn't really make sense to you until it does, until you realize that there's actually none left. When you hear that these are the best performing ETFs that have ever existed, that should be, the word's not alarm bells for you. Ever in 10 months, And they're only going to continue doing very well, especially as we push further into this bull run. When Bitcoin hits $500,000 per coin, these ETFs are going to go absolutely insane. And that's not including the accumulation that we're also seeing by normal people on chain who are buying all the time. People who are buying on cryptocurrency exchanges, the countries who are also buying up Bitcoin. I give it 2 years. I'm talking to you. I give it 2 years. We are probably going to see the actual run out of Bitcoin. It's not going to take a lot. If there are hundreds of thousands of Bitcoin that are currently left, and these people accumulated almost 1.2 million Bitcoin in 10 months, it would logically, and let's give them a longer time frame. Let's give them 12 months. They will have accumulated that Bitcoin. They're not the only people buying that Bitcoin. There's no new Bitcoin entering the market. Any Bitcoin that enters the market from some retail person who decides to sell is being swept up immediately. I give us 2 years. And I mean an actual, by the time we get to the end of 2026, I think the amount of Bitcoin that will be available is, and I mean this from an actual standpoint, will be zero. The only Bitcoin that will enter the market is people who are trying to take profits and are trying to leave. And those coins will be sold onto Coinbase or something like that. But millions of people will have a buy order for anything. I don't care what the number is. Give it to me. I need that Bitcoin in my wallet. That kind of thing. And I think it's going to cause such a shock to so many people around the world. And a lot of people in crypto, which is even cringier, because you know the news. You've been seeing this news. You know that there's a supply crunch. You know that there's a supply problem. You know that there's not a lot left or any left. You know that governments are buying. You know that banks are buying. You know that central banks are buying. You know that BlackRock is buying. You think that these things are the most popular ETFs to ever exist, ever, and that's not going to get crazier. It's about long-term thinking, and I mean, buddy, give me a good 5 years thinking. You see this all happening right now, and your first instinct is to go, well, let's see where that ends up going, as opposed to, you know what this year has done to me? It's basically solidified, and I told you this before, I mean really solidified, that not everybody's going to make it to the finish line because not everybody wants to. It's this thing where everybody wants to be rich, everybody wants to have money, everybody wants to succeed, until you realize that they don't. That everything that they say is just chatter. They have no actual intention, because part of them wants to remain broke. Part of it wants, these people want to remain in the same spot so that they can complain and that they can go, the system's always against me. I knew a lot of people like that when I was a kid, and I assumed that the system was actually against them. And to be completely fair, part of the system is actually against a lot of people who don't have money. Let's make that abundantly clear. But when you have these situations, when you have these things where you could make money, where you can get ahead, and listen, I'm not even talking about being able to make $79 million. In the cryptocurrency market, it's extremely easy. Hear my words after having been here for a long time. If you had invested over the course of the last 2 years, it's very easy when the market goes up, when the market pumps, to make a good 6 figures. What would you do with an extra $150,000? Once again, the idea usually is that people make millions and billions from this market. If you made an extra $150,000 in general, would you be happy? Probably. It's a healthy chunk of money for you to be able to go do a whole bunch of things that you want to do and to be able to invest in a whole bunch of other markets. But I do believe that there are a lot of people, even hearing this news, hearing the news that we had yesterday, the day before that, daily, every single day over the course of the last 8 years. I think people don't want to win. I think there are a lot of people who want to remain exactly where they are. They want to have this kind of struggle story to say, yeah, things have been really rough and they never got easy. That's a personal opinion from the life that I've lived and the people who I've come into contact with. There are a lot of people I'm very proud of in my life who've done exceedingly well, because I sat them down and I was like, stop. You look crazy. You want to make money. You want to invest. You want to get into a market. You want to so-and-so. And now they have money. They can do what they want in their lives. So, yeah, the market, the crunch is getting crazier as time goes on. And I want to make sure that all of you are paying attention to it, because a lot of people aren't. It's crazy. Even the thing we were talking about, staking Bitcoin before, that's going to change the entire fabric of this entire market. So for those of you who've been here, for those of you who are new, for those of you who've been paying attention, I really good luck. I hope that you all make it. That's going to do it for this video. ETFs continue to accumulate massive amounts of Bitcoin, as does MicroStrategy, as do a number of other people. Yeah, Hope you all enjoyed. Hope you all are having a great day, morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, wherever you might be. I do hope it's absolutely fantastic. Thank you all once again for watching, listening, liking, commenting, and supporting. And I will most certainly be talking to you all soon. See you.